My dear viewers, beginning today is the official Alliteration Gaming Patreon and channel members. Throughout my Patreon, we've got quite a few tiers you can check out in order to gain special perks and even commission videos that you'd like to see me upload onto the channel. Every tier includes a shout out on my supporter card at the beginning of all of my videos, along with the benefits of the tier itself. Following that, you can now also join the Alliteration Nation by becoming a channel member on the YouTube side of things. Pledging your subscription here as a member of the channel is going to grant you the same shout out on my supporter card as all the Patreon tiers do, as well as access to the members only channel on my Discord. You'll gain a member badge that will level up as you stay subscribed and access to my exclusive emotes when I stream on YouTube. If you're interested in checking out the Patreon, I'm going to have the link in the description and in the pinned comment down below, as well as the link to my Discord should you want to join that as well. And if you want to become a channel member, the big, beautiful join button is front and center on my homepage right here. And if you do decide to support the channel in any way whatsoever, know that I am unimaginably grateful, and I can't wait to provide you with even more top-notch content at my trademark top speed. Additionally, it's time for the return of the referral code. If you're new here and you're just getting into the game, you've got to make an account on the Universe's gaming network. When you're signing up, you can use my exclusive referral code Alliteration to let Jasco know that I brought you on board, which directly supports me and my work. Having an account on the UGN site is going to allow you to sign up for tournaments, participate in events, locate stores that support the game near you, and much, much more. Playing in events and or mailing in pack wrappers is actually going to accrue loyalty points onto your account, which you'll then be able to redeem for exclusive promo cards in the mail for absolutely free. An account on here is an integral part of playing this game, so make sure you sign up and you use my code Alliteration to help me continue doing what I love. I would really appreciate the support. You guys absolutely killed it on the last one with all of the signups, and I am really excited to run it back with you all. Now, let's get on to the video. Welcome, my dear viewers, to another Alliteration gaming video. My name is Levi, and today we've got another build a deck. This one's going to come from my good man Josh over on the Patreon, and he's tasked me with a deck, more should I say a character that's very near and dear to my heart. We're going to be taking a look at a Stain 1 deck playing off of the good old all symbol, the deck I was very fond of back in the day that I've since fallen off of, but has received some very cool new tools as the weapon packages grow. Josh's deck is a little all over the place, pun intended, so we're just going to be looking to clean up and refine his attack lineup, make sure his combos are very fluid, and of course smooth out his block zone. Tell me what's up with the Stain 1 deck, my friend.
Yeah, so Stain 1 was basically I had been looking through characters I had in my binder a while ago, trying to figure out what the next character I wanted to play was as I was figuring out the game, and I immediately gravitated to his response and being able to mess with checks and how I can use it offensively or defensively, and then he has that great weapon synergy. He just looked like a lot of fun to play with, and it ended up being the first deck that I actually started winning games with. I mean, as you know, it's not like a top of the meta deck, but it was good enough that I really started to have fun playing for the first time. But I've kind of plateaued with him, and so I'm really just looking to kind of fix him up and make him, under the all symbol, make him the best Stain 1 deck I can make him.
I love it. Obviously, I've played this character a ton. He's very fun. Definitely not the most competitive guy in the world, but he's very enjoyable to play. His +1 speed and +1 damage, quote unquote, right, with his enhance on your weapons is very cool. His response is really sick because it's got a ton of hidden text, right? It doesn't actually say that your rival has to pay 3. Most of the time it says that you wait for them to play something really good, then you -3 on it, and then they're probably just forced to fail it because they can't really pay 3. So he actually kind of says that your rival has -1 hand size, and then if you're using him aggressively on a block, it actually just says your move has +3 speed, but only once your rival has committed a card to try and block it, and you know that -3 to their check, that +3 speed, air quotes, makes it unblockable. So he's almost like a really cool hybrid of I don't know, he's got Ida 1 energy, but you're also just taking away your rival's cards. This guy does cool things. This guy does very cool things. The main drawback is that whole only playable if your rival has taken damage this game. I think that's really the only thing that holds this character back. But that doesn't mean we can't do some very cool things with him. So we are on the all symbol, probably his most prominent symbol for weapons. Evil and Order have definitely got a little bit more in the days of set 3 and set 4 now, but all is still pretty tried and true when it comes to that weapon package. So let's kind of take a look at these attacks first. We've got a lot of really good ones in here. I think Binding Cloth Assault for all weapons is just staple. Being able to just filter your cards out, give you more cards as a six-hander, very, very crucial. Combos really well with the actions that we want to play in our deck because we're the all symbol. Very good. Capture Net, also a massive, massive staple. Stun 2 is really, really big, and one of the big things about playing a super combo-heavy lineup is sometimes you can run into the issue that your first move might not do anything because it needs to combo, but it's your first move, so how does it combo? That's where something like Create Capture Net comes in. It's really, really good for that purpose. Those two, I think, are the main staples here. Everything else, I think, is pretty flexible. So besides those two, why don't you kind of tell me what attacks you're really in love with here and what attacks you're not so in love with here?
Yeah, sure thing. I'm glad you like Create Capture Net because that's probably the only one I would have really fought for. I love this card. I can't express enough how much fun this card is to play. And it helps you constantly build. You're just constantly developing momentum, not literal momentum, but momentum in the sense of you're constantly building. Create Capture Net, I really love. I would say I'm probably not married to anything, but the two other cards I've had the most success with in my couple months of playtesting this have probably been Netgun Surprise and Slashing Whirlwind.
Okay, I do like Netgun Surprise a lot. It is a very, very cool defensive trick, and just more stun 2 moves is not bad. Just being able to put your rival's board down constantly is very nice. Stat-wise, it's really annoying to block. Like a 4 mid for 4, basically, because of our Stain Enhance. After stun 2 is really, really, really pesky. I think being able to open a stun 2 move on turn 2 as well for like your first attack of the game is really nice because it just makes it a little bit harder for your rival to get that guaranteed block, and you really just want to get that initial poke in and then just run with some builds from there just to get your character online. So I do like having a lot of stun moves. Slashing Whirlwind, I do not hate. This is just like at base, right, with our Stain Enhance, a 6 mid for 5 as a 4 diff. That's very good. And then it's also just our finisher once we have 2 momentum. That's also very, very good. Now, as a kill card, I do like it. And there's even more kill cards that we get to play now. So I have a ton of cards down here and a few notable attacks. So let's just kind of go through those. Binding Cloth Precision. This card's crazy. This card's really, really wild. Combo Enhance, look at the top of your deck, you may discard it. That's super fine. It's super duper okay. Biggest thing here is that this is a 3 diff that just gets super duper big for literally no reason. Literally no reason, right? It's a 3 low for 4 starting off because we're Stain, right? So then it can become a 5 low for 6, or +3/+3 makes it a 6 low for 7 with our Stain Enhance on a 3 diff. Super duper wild. This card helps you flow really well and just beats the snot out of your rival. Now, if we end up going a much like full combo heavy focus, I love Binding Cloth Whiplash. Being able to basically be Crow and Frog for the turn is really, really, really nice. Something you'll also notice is that both of these are low attacks. They're really, really pesky to block. Your rival pretty much never wants to half block you when you're Stain because they're still going to lose a health. So they're taking half damage +1, which these moves, they're not very big. If you half block my Whiplash, you're taking 3 on the half and then losing 1 health because I'm Stain. You're taking 4 instead of 5. That's like almost not even worth the block, right? Same thing for something like Binding Cloth Precision, you know? Even if it just gets the +2/+2, right? It's for 5. If you half block it, you're taking 3 and then losing 1. You're taking 4 instead of just the 5, right? It's really pesky, and it lets you take advantage of your Stain Enhance to make them lose a health really, really well. Also, Showdown is a massive card right now, so a bunch of low attacks are going to play around Showdown decks really, really heavily. How do you feel about either of these guys?
I feel great about those. The way I've been playing the deck has been very attack string intensive. You know, trying to get in 3, maybe 4 attacks in a turn if I can.
Right.
So that's great. I mean, that absolutely synergizes with the way I've been playing it, and also that helps address one of the big problems I've had, which I was going to bring up anyway, which is just sometimes struggling to get his response online.
Yeah, it can be hard. So a lot, if you can throw like a lot of pesky, it basically, if you can throw 2 lows out on turn 2, you're getting your response off. 0 chance your rival held 2 low blocks. That's almost never happening on like turn 2. That's just not what they're going into your turn expecting. So I really like flooding these hard to stop off zones, these hard to put in your deck off zones. Low is really good for that. So I guess let's talk about your strings, right? Let's kind of envision some of these strings and how we want them to go. Now, the big thing here about something like Whiplash is it's combo. Now, it's really good, obviously, to play early on. You want to play this early on to get the most value out of that. It doesn't count towards progressive. The only issue with that means if you want to play this as your second one, you've got to open with a combo. Now, that's where something like Create Capture Net can come in. Very nice combo that you can open with and still get your full value of. Expert Flurry, I also like for that reason. You can open with this, not care about the momentum discard, and just say your next gets +2. And then you send in Whiplash and we get combo. So if we're going to go that route, I would kind of like to leave Expert Flurry in the deck. At that point, the only line that really cuts us off is going like Net Gun into Whiplash. We can't do that. Net Gun is not a combo, right?
I mean, is there a version of this where maybe we cut Net Gun down from a 4 of?
I think it could become like a 3 of. I would not hate that. I think it could become a 3 of. I think the 1 of Bowstaff can probably go. And how do you feel about Piercing Descent? I have a love-hate relationship with this card.
Yeah, that's a really good way to put it. I feel like the times where it does what I really need it to do, it's awesome. Especially if, you know, like it's the end of a string. I'm not able to get off something like Slashing Whirlwind, right, but I have Sugar Rush Power Up in hand. And it kind of becomes like I can kind of MacGyver it into a kill card, but
yeah,
that only happens like 45% of the time.
Yeah, I mean when that works, it is sure like with Stain, right? It is a 9 damage move. That's very cool. That is very cool. But also think about Binding Cloth Precision, right? This is, if it's your 5th on the end of a big string, a 6 damage move. 7 with Stain. That's not quite 9, but it's also for an actual speed number as well. And it's also going to be really useful outside of those situations. The main thing about Piercing Descent is it just taxes your rival to hold a low block. I'm sorry, a high block. And when they don't, it's fantastic. I think the main issue is that we don't really have another high in the deck to like pressure them, right? They hold 1 high block for your 1 Piercing Descent, and that's all they have to use it on. They never have to use it on like anything else, right? They can take your Expert Flurry or even just half it if they don't care. You know, it's not like, now if we had something like Total Erasure or Needle Stab, which will probably find their way into, we're going to talk about those cards. Those are high attack threats that could like tax the rival with the Piercing Descents, but I don't think that those combinations make it better than something like the Binding Cloth Precision.
I mean, I'm, you know, I don't want to be the guy who's like, you know, Levi, please help me with your deck, with my deck, give me your expertise, and then I'm like, no, I don't want to change any of my cards. So I'm okay swapping out Piercing and seeing how that plays.
All right, so let's say we cut out this Piercing. Honestly, the biggest drawback of cutting out Piercing is we just lost a low block. We're the Y'all symbol. We don't really possess those at all. So we're gonna address that when we get to our foundations, though. We've got a few lows that we can work in. But so we're gonna cut the Piercing. That's 3 slots. We're gonna cut the Bow Staff, the 1-up Bow Staff. Now, another big thing too is before we cut any of those, we're at 23 attacks in our 58 card deck. Josh, my friend, that's a lot of attacks.
Yeah, I know. It's not. I promise. I try to play off of the 1/3 rule. I don't know what it was with this deck. I just even with Binding Cloth, I was having trouble with card draw, and I just kept adding attacks until I got to where we were.
Yeah, hey, look. Sometimes, man, the fakes have to be challenged. Okay, the fakes have to be challenged somehow. So, if we cut those 4, that brings us down to 19. Let's also do that. Put that net gun to a 3 of. That still leaves us with 7 stun 2 moves. So now we kind of have decisions to make. We're down to around a 53 card deck at the moment. Is there a number of cards in your deck that you kind of like the general idea of? Because if you want to put these cool attacks in, we can also just make our deck bigger. We can just find more foundations to put in and aim for like 60, 65.
I had promised myself that I wasn't going to go over 60 cards.
Okay, we're not going to go over 60 cards. That is very doable. We can certainly hang out with that number. It does mean we have some crucial decisions to make though now, because with 60 cards, we're probably going to hover around like 20 attacks or so. That's kind of the number that you want to play there.
Let me ask you this really quick question before we make up my mind. I've been playing it as kind of a mid-rangey deck. So if I really want to lean into this is a mid-range style deck, what would a good card number be in your opinion?
I think anywhere between 60 and 65 is good for a mid-range 6-hander. And I do think Stain is very mid-range. The only reason you want to play attacks early game with Stain is just to get that response online. After that, you're usually going to turtle up for a while and kind of wait and sculpt until you find your really good strings, right? Because we just, for these moves to really be effective and dangerous, we need a momentum or two, and we need a lot of them, right? As Stain on like turn 4 into your rival's fully ready board, playing like 2 attacks, that just doesn't do anything, right? Like you are very mid-range. You want to string, you want to poke here and there just to kind of like stop the rival from sculpting. But for the most part, you are going to be tempoing out the game really well and just trying to make the most of, hey, you just have -1 hand size every turn because of my Stain response.
Okay, you know what? Let's bring it up to 65. But if we could try to cap it at that would be awesome.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with that. Another big thing too is that like we don't have to worry about a super small number very much because there's no cards that we're especially like dead set on finding. Right? There's not like an attack in here that just says I gotta find this or else I just don't win the game. You know, that's not like a pressure on us. So we also have a little bit of leeway to be in that 65 range, be a bit thicker there. While we're trimming down these attacks, can we cut this one of Double Blade Slash? Don't think this card's very insane.
Yeah, that's fine.
I'm not gonna lie. When in set 2, when I was playing this character, I actually loved this. Being able to just have like a 6 mid with stun 1 on turn 2 for just a pesky 3 damage. Very, very easy way to get your response online. But we've got much better ways to do that now. All these stun 2 moves and all of these actual moves that later on in the game do things. Because once you hit late game, man, this 3 damage move, this 5 diff 3 damage move is not cutting it.
Yeah, no, for sure. We can do better than that.
I do think we can do better than that. So we've got ourselves down to 17 attacks now. We can go ahead and shove in 2 and 2 of these precisions and whiplashes, and then kind of see how we look right now. So we've got a little bit more flow. We've got like a little alternate kill card in this precision now, but we're also kind of starting to cap out around attacks. Now, the other issue that I kind of have looking at an attack lineup like this is Slashing Whirlwind. It's a super sick kill card. This card, it does murder people. It's very fast. It's big damage, and I think the big thing that we underestimate when we're fighting against Stain, I think a lot of people do, is they just don't think of this response as +3 speed with -3 to your block check, right? So like the second we hit 2 momentum, this is going to be essentially a 9 mid, right? A 9 mid for 15. Our Stain response can also kill them, right? That lose 1 health, that can kill them. So like right away, we can have just hit them, twice, get our 2 momentum, and this is super duper lethal move now. If we Sugar Rush it, it's like an 11 mid. That's crazy. That's nuts. It's really easy to formulate a move into like, yeah, I just know that this is going to hit you. Especially once you stun them down, like my favorite thing to do with this character is just play a couple stun 2 moves, commit their board all the way down, and then just say, okay, now my big damage move, you just don't get to block it. It's not possible anymore. It's got that faux +3 speed. You're all committed out. You're all stunned out. Regardless of what you did from this point onwards, my bombs aren't blockable anymore. So I want to look at some other bombs here. So I've got Total Erasure Binding. This card's very good. This card is a 4 difficulty move. It's 5 base damage. It's got powerful 3. That is like cool enough right there. But also, your rival does not get to interact with it with their character, and you get to seal 3 things, which is kind of crazy on like the end of your string. Like imagine playing this as your 3rd move, and then you go and seal like, you know, their release, their rescue completed, and then anything else. Now suddenly, this is the most unblockable thing in the world.
Oh, that's awesome.
It's very nice. Or if you're fighting like all of these death or chaos decks running around, this will come in as my 3rd move. I'm going to seal, you know, your double struggling with studies and your graceful maneuvers. And this is now super duper unblockable. You have no cards. You get nothing. Good day, sir. Triple seal. It's not to be underestimated. It's also just very well statted. A 4 high for 5 as a 4 diff. It's just good. This is good. Weapon combo. Very easy to get off. We've got almost all combos in our deck right now. So I like this card a lot. Alternatively, we've got a new set 4 card right here. Needle Stab. This card's crazy, bro. This card's really, 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 really good. First off, it's just a 5 high for 4. It's big and it's fast. 6 high for 5 in our character, right? Second of all, it's a low block. It's a low block on an all weapon attack. That's like a premium. And now, as far as its enhances go, they're all fine. You can find yourself in a position where all of these can be really useful in certain ways. You can discard a card to give your next 3 speed if it's going to be like your Bomb Whirlwind or Total Erasure or something like that. You can just add the top 2 to your momentum. Like if you have this and then a Slashing Whirlwind, you can just play those 2, discard your 3. Like that's like your whole hand, but now your Whirlwind is free. You can even discard that last card, give it 3 speed on the next one. Crazy. Or you can just discard 2 and make this a 9 damage move, stain response on it, and it's pretty much just 9 unblockable at that point. It's 9 high with your enhance and your response. Card is very, very good at killing people or enabling your other attacks to kill people.
That's pretty. I mean, yeah. I mean, there are a lot of lines. That's really cool.
A lot of very, very cool lines. Now, the issue here is things are going to start to get a bit cloggy. Now, I do think that we need more than 3 attacks that kill someone in our deck. We need more than 3 bombs. So I'd like to see one of these cards come in. Is there one that you're really into over the other?
Well, I already have a Needle Stab. So I mean, that's just in my collection and ready to go.
I love Needle Stab, and I also think it's going to help pad out our low blocks a little better. So I'm very into Needle Stab coming in. Now the only issue is how do we get it in, right? I think we're going to have to start making some concessions here if we want to get this Needle Stab in. Let's look at what all of our attacks are doing, right? Capture Net and Net Gun, these are our openers, right? Expert Flurry, also our opener. We've got a lot of openers here. And then Whirlwind is our 1 kill card, and then Assault and Precision are kind of like our flow / kill cards. Cloth Assault, when you sugar rush it, is definitely a kill card. So these kind of pull double duty. So I think the big thing here is we have 3 different openers here, and I think one of them just might have to go. Because we have 3 openers, and then we have like 2 flow cards, and then Precision is kind of like a jack of all trades card. So we have a lot of things pulling a lot of different roles right now, which honestly makes it pretty hard to cut an attack here. What's on your mind right now? Are you seeing a weakest link here?
I mean, I'm trying not to be precious about the great capture nets, but I'm thinking maybe I saw you hovering over Expert Flurry. Is that an option maybe?
I think it could be. The only thing is, I think if we cut Expert Flurry, it really, really hurts Whiplash. Right? Because now we basically have to open Capture Net. So I think here are 2 decision trees here. So if we cut Flurry, it just makes Whiplash really bad. So at that point, we should probably just cut Whiplash. Alternatively, our other tree here is we could cut Net Gun and then leave Capture Net and Flurry as our 2 openers that are really good to go into Whiplash after.
Yeah, you know what? I think I'm okay with Net. I mean, what I like in theory about Net Gun is that it's also really sick to play defensively. But if I'm being really honest, I probably don't play it defensively as much as I should anyway. So
it's nice when it happens. It's definitely nice when it happens, for sure. And look, the big thing here too, right, is we can cut this Net Gun. We can put like 2 of these in there. We can even put that gives us 20 attacks. Shoot, we can even put 1 more in somewhere. But it's like
would it be okay if we kept Needle Stab at 2? Just because I know I have to pick up another one, and it's not. I know it's not an inexpensive.
No, that's super fine. I think it's a fine 2 of. You never want to see more than 1 copy of this card. You don't want to see 2 in a turn. That doesn't do anything for you. So I think it's a fine 2 of. I think you could pump, since we took out Capture Net as an opener. I honestly think you could pump Flurry to a 4th copy. That way you have 8 openers.
Oh, sweet. Let's do it.
I think that's probably... I would also be into like a 3rd Precision, but again, you really want those openers. You wanna pretty much start every turn with 1 of these 2 so that your combos can go off from there. You want to make sure that your cards are always doing things. Something that the very wise Christopher Bromley has told me when I'm building these combo weapon decks and stuff is that, Levi, you'll never kill anyone if every attack you want to play wants to be the 3rd attack you play. You'll just never kill anyone like that.
True words.
So, and the cool thing too now is that, hey, if you're playing with this and you feel like Whiplash just like really isn't pulling weight, or that the combos are just like too Christmas land to be finding consistently, you can just swap it back out for the Net Guns, and that's not going to hurt you at all.
Cool.
So I like this attack lineup. I think like we've got this really clear focus. We have our openers, we have our flow cards, we have our kill cards. Feels really solid. Now that also only puts us 56 cards, so we can add in a lot of foundations if we so desire. So as far as our foundations go, low blocks are going to be a big premium here. We've only got 13 lows in the deck now. I'd like to bump that number up quite a bit. We've got some sick ways to do that. First of all, you've got your zeros here. Your 10 zeros, I love that. 10 is like my personal pet number. I really like 10 zeros. The only downside about these 10 zeros on the all symbol is we're playing for Rooftop Vantage, and this card doesn't really do a whole lot. Now that's okay, because take a look here at this guy that just came out in this All Might versus All for One rival deck. This is a 0 difficulty foundation with a low block that actually has very relevant text. I think this is just a straight swap out.
Oh, yeah, that's great. And I wouldn't mind having a little more deadlock anyway.
It's a very good deadlock. It's a very good deadlock. Also, like, if you happen to see both your needle stabs, you can just discard the other one, and then boom, this draws a card now.
Sweet.
So that, I think, is a super duper instant trade-in as far as Rooftop Vantage is concerned. Poor Rooftop Vantage has to go the way of the dodo. So the next order of business here is, I'm going to go out on a limb here and say we do not own chivalrous competitors.
You know what? I'm not sure off the top of my head. I'd have to check.
Okay. Well, if we do, 4 of these should be in our deck. This card's insane. Okay. This card is an insane spam. It's got insane abilities, and it's a low block. It is the absolute premium. It is the absolute premium of spams in the all symbol. This card's just unmatched as far as value goes. Helps string out when we are just this mortal 6 hand size character. It's very good. And it pads out our low blocks immensely. In the event that you end up not owning these, I've got Daunting Message and Preparing for Battle both in here that you could probably play at like a 2-2 or like a 3 Daunting, 1 Preparing. Some mixture of those, just so that your low block numbers stay the same. In the event that you don't own Chivalrous, because it is a Quirk Pack box topper card, and it's also like $25 right now.
Yeah, I just glanced on TCG. I was like, ooh, so sweating a little bit. You know what? Maybe we should just throw the other ones in as the 2 of just to be safe. You're catching me at a weird time after spending probably too much money on League of Villains cards.
Nah, dude, it's okay. If you are not someone who's like hyper competitively focused for a deck with Chivalrous Competitor in it, I don't think you should be paying that money for them. I already moved the 2 out of the sideboard, so I'm just going to leave it in there for now. Also, for the sake of the viewers at home, this is like the quote-unquote correct card to play. But if you don't own these bad boys, those other 2 are perfectly fine.
All right, awesome.
So that puts us now at 60 cards even with 17 low blocks. So we have started obtaining a little more wiggle room when it comes to the foundations we can put in our deck. We don't have to sweat our numbers super hard right now. So kind of just tell me about your... Oh, I didn't even realize we had easily exciteds in this deck. We've got way more than 10 zeros. I'm also super cool with that. I like a bunch of zeros. Easily excited is very, very, very potent. Sorry, that was like a tangent. Tell me about the rest of your foundations, and is there anything that you feel that's lacking?
Again, there's not a lot I'm married to. I'll say the ones that I use the most effectively are the Specialist of Sounds.
Yes.
Are huge, defensively. And then, where is it? Hero's Inspiration was one of those cards where first I had it as like a 1 of, and then I had it as a 2 of, and now it's just a 3 of, because anytime I'm able to use it, it's such a huge help.
It's quite nice. It's the response is very, very handy. It's very cool. It obviously plays very well with something like Capture Net. There's a lot of cool things you can do with this card, and it is a low block, so I do not hate it. How do you feel about start with the basics?
I personally, I've had a pretty positive experience with it in my deck, in terms of it being able to kind of eke across the finish line when I'm not quite there yet.
Mm-hmm. So when I was playing Stain in Set 2, I actually did really, really like this card. I very, very much enjoyed having this card in my deck, just as like emergency damage pump. Sometimes it is just the card that gets you there. But now we have a lot of other things that are able to get us there. And so I didn't put this in the list initially, but I'm gonna bring up something here that now that we have a very, very full focused combo deck, how would you feel about this bad boy right here?
Oh, Late Riser. I hadn't thought about him. I used to play him a lot in Dobby, so I'm familiar with the card. It hadn't crossed my mind, but I like me some Late Riser.
We don't get to interact particularly well with the response. It's pretty much the only way to really do it is... Oh, I guess we have Needle Stab to discard cards now. That's kind of cool. And Binding Cloth Assault will also discard our cards. But for the most part, just being a repeatable +1 damage that we can put on to our moves. I mean, let's look at our combo moves. This combos, this combos, this combos, this combos, and this combos. That is a lot of extra damage. The only things that don't combo are our 5 kill cards, which pretty much have enough damage on them already. I think Late Riser could be a really good source of damage pump. It is a low block. It's not a very good one, so we probably shouldn't be relying on it very much. But in the event that like we have to like emergency stop something super scary, it does have that zone on it. It does exist.
I'm totally cool swapping in Late Riser. Love that card.
Yeah, just because of its stats and because we can't interact with the response very much, I only really would put it as a 2 of. But in the event that you find yourself really liking it and you don't find the zone hurting you very much, or rather the mod hurting you very much, wouldn't even be against more of them. So right now, I guess just kind of take a look at what I've got in here. I've got a lot of foundations that are going to do a lot of different things for our deck. Acrobatic is a very nice low block and a very nice mid block with some speed reduction. That also clears itself. Closing in and Snack Time are very nice sources of speed pump. Kindle the Flames is going to help us block a little better. Unexpected is some nice emergency speed sap, and if you get them down to no cards in hand, it's just free 3 damage. Challenging the Fakes is really nice for interacting with our rival's board. Exhausted Exclamation is very cool defensively because we're going to be committing our character, so we get to draw some cards. Prone to Dry Eyes is insane levels of damage pump if we can support that discard cost. And Scouting the Forest is really, really awesome to tutor attacks as we're hitting the rival, and it is a very nice low block as well.
Ooh, yeah. I mean, you see the deck I made. I'm a sucker for weapon synergy.
Love me some. I think this card's like super underrated. There will be times where you use this card, you reveal the top 4, and you show off 4 foundations, and then you'll be very, very sad. And that will suck sometimes. But there are also going to be times where you hit your rival with your poke, and then you grab like Binding Cloth Assault, and now you have like a real turn. Or you go and grab Slashing Whirlwind or Needle Stab, and now suddenly you can kill them. I think card's really nice. It's also got a very, very strong deadlock. Very, very, very good deadlock. Honestly, I've got a lot of cool stuff in here. I think the thing I'd probably like to do first to start fitting some of these in is go knock out any more weak links. Can you sell me on Intimidating Presence? I'm not in love with this card in here.
Yeah. Okay, can I don't know if I can sell you.
It's not a dare. It's not a dare. Don't worry. You're not gonna get. I'm not gonna threaten you if you don't.
I will say it's been a nice card to have defensively. It has that 2+ modifier, and also that passive. That passive effect has been pretty nice defensively. But I am 100%. I am not married to it.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of things in here that will put in a lot more work than Intimidating Presence. Especially now that I'm gonna be honest, when like Asui was like the hotness of the deck, I was really, really big on this card for flipping Amphibious. I was like, this is the anti-meta strat, boys. But that card does not exist anymore.
All right, get it out of here. Yeah, get it out of my sight.
We'll get into Intimidating Presence now. Honestly, everything else in here, I don't mind. And given that we just cut 4 cards, so let's say we're gonna get to 65. We can put 9 cards into our deck. So let's just find 9 cards to shove into our deck, man. Scouting the Forest. I feel like we're both pretty into this bad boy right here.
Yeah, definitely.
I think it's a cool 2 of.
Cool.
I'm into 2 of. I could see 3 just because like it's not a unique. But I think it's not like a card that we rely on. It's just kind of like, hey, this is nice when I find it, right? We've got a lot of zeros, so I'm not really rushing to put Acrobatic into the deck. Let's look at our ratios now too, right? 4, 7, 10, only 12 non-spams. So we actually have a lot of leeway to put in some non-spams here. Our foundation lineup is predominantly spams right now. I think Exhausted Exclamation is super, super good for you. Honestly, I could see you just putting 4 of this into the deck.
Yeah, I mean, hey, I was complaining about card draw earlier on. So.
We are such a raw 6-hander, and it is really hard to play these long weapon strings as a 6-hand size character. Oftentimes when I play a 6-hander with these packages, if I can't find Binding Cloth Assault, I feel like I can't even start going in on you yet. Because I just don't have the cards in hand to support that playstyle. Now, like obviously, if you're wanting to use this aggressively, you're gonna have to Stain Response aggressively, which is a little risky sometimes. You do leave yourself quite open. Those are just the decision trees that you're gonna have to make though when you're using a card like this. So,
let's give it a shot.
Yeah, let's jam 4 of those in there, and we're gonna be drawing some cards now, which is very cool. So that puts us at 62. We could shove 3 new cards into our deck and then kind of call it a day if we so desire in our foundations. Are there any of these remaining foundations that you really like the idea of? Any of them just screaming out to you?
Yeah, I haven't had a chance to play him a whole lot, but I've always thought Unexpected Hero was interesting. I know for us it's really the enhance that makes the most sense, but I also like the idea of being able to punish my opponent when they draw.
It is pretty nice when your rival or when they discard, right?
Sorry, yeah, I misread it, but
no, it's okay.
Yes,
That's still
I still like the idea
very good. Still very good. When your rival one with natures you, cool. I'm gonna draw a card now. When they snack time you, cool. I'm gonna draw a card right now. I do like this card. I think it's also a matter of what do you feel like you want a little bit more of in your deck right now? Because this card, so let's look like Unexpected Hero and Prone to Dry Eyes. This is raw damage right here, raw damage pump. But if we look at something like Close In or Snack Time, these two cards are both raw speed, right? Flip for 2 speed or discard a card for a speed and stun 1. And then our last 2 cards, Kindle the Flames and Acrobatic, are just defensive cards. So it's like, do you want these last couple slots to be dedicated towards defense, towards speed, or towards damage pump?
Ooh, well, let's go ahead and strike out snack time, just because I feel like I already have a decent amount of stun, and you know, if my opponent has it can't be fixed, I can't use that anyway. So I guess for me, I'm torn between speed and damage.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, so like our block zones are actually just perfect right now. 21, 20, 21. We don't even have to worry about the blocks on our card. We can just look at our pure abilities right now. I do really like Prone to Dry Eyes. It's really, really good for those string decks. And I think now that there's 4 Exhausted Exclamation in our deck, we can and 4 Chivalrous Competitor if we have them, right? Prone to Dry Eyes is actually pretty easy for us to fund. We've also got Destined, which can get us extra cards, and Your Finish can draw us a card sometimes too. So I actually think we support Prone to Dry Eyes pretty well. If we're looking for damage pump, I think I'd be more into that card. It's also insane stun protection. Insane stun protection. If you stun this, I'm gonna ready 2 face downs. That's crazy, bro. That's nuts. That's really, really good.
You don't have to sell me anymore. I think Prone to Dry Eyes is the play.
I've been playing like long string Void Weapon decks with this card a lot in set 4, and this thing just commits war crimes. You can have like a measly 3 attacks in your hand, and you're like, well, I guess these other 3 cards in my hand just all say +1 damage, +2 damage, +3 damage. Like, it makes going in on your rival with fewer attacks really, really good, and also makes it to where when you have a bunch of attacks, 1 damage to all of them, even if you just use it once. 1 damage to all your moves for the whole turn is crazy. Say you're stacking up the late risers on there too, it's a lot of damage bump.
Yeah, that sounds really cool.
It is very, very cool. As far as assets go, I have Box of Babies and USJ in here, and these cards are fine in our decks, but I think that we've kind of tightened things up enough that I don't know if we really want to consider any action cards going in here. I'm sorry, any more asset cards going on here.
Yeah, I mean, I could go either way. I mean, if I was gonna tack on anything extra, it would maybe just be an extra Sugar Rush.
Yeah, I could definitely see that. I think Ruthless Mockery is also very, very sick, especially because we have Easily Exciteds in our deck. But if we're not even maxed out on Sugar Rush, I don't know if I would reach this card. I think I'd just put the 4th Sugar Rush in. This card's just so good, man. This card's just so good.
This card has this card has won me so many games with this deck.
It is so funny watching, especially like once your rival like starts like they do the math, right? And they're like, okay, if I commit my -3 speed here, I'm able to block this attack no matter what. And then they commit that resource, then you're like, okay, cool. Now I'll Sugar Rush it. Like, it also just flips so many things, right? Like it can flip Spooky, it can flip Creepy Realization. Like there's so many solid targets for this to be able to flip.
Yeah, a lot of utility for sure.
Yeah, the card's just not really ever dead. It's also a really, really cool 1 high block. Really nice 1 high block. I think if you're playing the deck and you feel like, you know, keep all these cards in mind, right? If you feel like your damage is lacking, you know, consider Unexpected. If you feel like your defense is lacking, consider like Challenging, Kindle, or Acrobatic. If you feel like your speed is lacking, consider Closing In. And then if you just want to shove more actions in your deck, I think Ruthless Mockery is very good. Otherwise, though, dude, I think we have a very, very beautiful deck on our hands here.
Levi, it looks so good, man. Thank you.
And there you have it, guys. That is our Stain 1 deck on the all symbol. Whole lot of weapons in this bad boy. We love to see it. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video or even learned anything from it, I would love some feedback via the like button or the comments down below. And if you want to support the channel, you can hit the join button to become a channel member, join the Alliteration Nation, and get yourself access to my exclusive Discord and some cool perks when I stream on YouTube. And if you want your own build-a-deck experience just like this, or if you want to just commission any other types of videos videos from me, you can head over to the Patreon down below and check out all the different ways that you can have impact on the type of content I make. I'm going to have everything linked down below in the pinned comments and in the description, but if all you just did was make it to the end of this video, I appreciate that just as much. That's all the time I've got for today, but I hope I can see you in the next one.